As I sprang out of bed, feeling refreshed and energized, I began my morning routine, unaware of the surprises that awaited me. The warm water on my face invigorated my senses, and I stepped into the kitchen, expecting a typical morning. To my surprise, my wife had already prepared a delicious breakfast spread that filled the room with savory aromas. Her unusual kindness and warm smile caught me off guard, and I felt a spark of excitement. After all, as we sat down to eat, her compliments and affectionate words flowed freely, a departure from our usual morning routine, which didn't happen very often. I basked in the attention, feeling like a king. But little did I know, the best was yet to come. Then, as I settled into my chair, engrossed in the news and social media, Emma snuck up behind me, put her hand on my shoulder, and gently turned me toward her. Emma, my wife, stood in front of me in a light robe and kissed me unexpectedly. The world around me melted away, leaving only the two of us, lost in that tender moment. It was a side of Emma I rarely saw, and I was captivated. What did this unexpected display of affection mean? I was eager to find out. She then told me that we would visit her mother in the village that day. I wasn't keen on going to my mother-in-law's place, as there was always a lot of housework to be done, given that she lives in the village and my father-in-law wasn't there at the time. He was away on a business trip, so there was no one to drink with. But being in a state of euphoria, I still agreed, answering my wife, "Ok." I was genuinely happy, as such moments have been scarce between my wife and me lately, often due to her suffering from headaches. As I began to prepare, I discovered that my wife had already arranged everything before I even woke up. The crafty woman knew how to sway me. Upon reaching the village, my mother-in-law was absent. Emma intended to astonish her mother with our unexpected visit, and chose not to alert her. My wife quickly went to her friend's house, while I sat in front of the TV with a beer. As I stepped out for a smoke in the yard, I heard my mother-in-law's voice coming from the adjacent house. Coming to the fence, I saw an interesting picture. Charlotte, that's my mother-in-law's name, was chatting about something with a neighbor who grabbed her leg. She immediately removed her hands and began to look around. But hiding behind the tall raspberry bushes, she did not notice me. Her expression clearly indicated she was starting to scold someone, and they both headed towards the neighbor's barn. Suspecting that the mother-in-law might be deceiving her husband, I inquired what was going on there. I climbed over the fence and slowly approached the structure. The barn was old and had many cracks in it. As I got closer, I could see how and what was going on in there. And let me tell you, as I peeked through the barn door, I was amazed by my mother-in-law's beauty and vitality, despite her age. However, my fascination was interrupted when an unknown person entered her house, sparking my curiosity. Hastily, I moved to the opposite side of the barn to avoid being seen. When the visitor seemed to depart, I considered returning to my initial position. However, as I peered through the crevice, I saw Charlotte staring right at me. When the coast was clear, I returned to my vantage point, only to be met with a startling sight. Charlotte, my mother-in-law, stood before me, her piercing gaze locking onto mine. She pressed her finger against her lips, and she urged me to silence, her eyes sparkling with a hint of mischief. I was captivated by her secrets. I returned home, my mind whirling with questions, and settled into a chair, cradling a cup of coffee. Emma, my wife, entered the room, but I kept my discovery hidden, eager to hear Charlotte's explanation first. When she arrived, she embraced Emma, and they launched into a conversation, oblivious to the secrets that had just been revealed. I listened intently, my curiosity piqued, wondering what other surprises lay hidden beneath the surface. I stepped out into the yard, lit a cigarette, and savored the nicotine rush. Moments later, my mother-in-law appeared on the porch, her eyes locked on mine. And she said to me, "Lucas, please don't say anything to Emma. And let's talk about everything tonight." I nodded silently and headed back to my wife's house. The evening unfolded like any other, with my mother-in-law's usual warmth and grace. But I knew a secret now, and it simmered in the back of my mind like a slow-burning fire. When Emma proposed a walk with friends, I declined, pretending to be tired. As the night progressed, my mother-in-law and I were left alone, with moonshine and pickles on the table. After drinking a shot and a second, she began her story. With a hint of mischief in her eyes, she began to confide in me. "My dear Lucas, you probably won't understand me, but my neighbor and I help each other out sometimes. He's lonely, and my husband no longer fulfills his duties. If you know what I mean, of course." The voice trailed off, but I understood the unspoken words. My mind raced with a single thought. My mother-in-law was a woman of mystery and desire. She was sitting in her house robe, and I was also even dreaming. As we shared and sipped our drinks, my gaze lingered on her, and I felt a spark of attraction. Without a word, I stood up, took her hand, and led her to the bedroom. And in that moment, I became her confidant, her partner in secrets, and her helper in ways I never thought possible. Hopefully you enjoyed and liked this story. Let us know in the comments section what you liked too much in all of this story. Your opinion is so important for us. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. Your support encourages us to bring more such stories to life.